You're watching KREX News.
Hello, Western Slope. Thank you for watching the KREX News Week in Review. I'm Chad Roderick. Now, in our first story, Colorado Parks and Wildlife reintroduced gray wolves to Colorado, with the second phase ending just last month. Now, interestingly, one wolf already traveling over 100 miles to our backyard. Timber Schumann has the details.
Gray wolves roamed in the shadows of Colorado until roughly the mid-1940s. Now, after almost 80 years, wolves are back due to CPW's 3 to 5 year plan. In mid-January, CPW released 15 more wolves in both Eagle and Pitkin counties, meaning a total of 29 translocated wolves now roam Colorado.
It's concerning because where there's one, there's usually more.
Jeremy Carnes is a 5th-generation Glade Park rancher.
Yes, there was a wolf that was tracked that came across Unit 40. It was actually spotted over by the Glade Park store, and it went right on down into Uniweep and was spotted down in the Uniweep Canyon.
Public Information Supervisor Travis Duncan with CPW confirms a 3-year-old female collared wolf entered the western portion of Mesa County. He adds this was to be expected, and it's important to remember wolves can and do move substantial distances. Carnes tells me neighbors in close proximity were notified by a Department of Wildlife officer.
He called and notified that there was one in the area. They are a lot bigger than a coyote. You'd have to be a long ways away to not know the difference. I personally seen one probably 15, 20 years ago.
Colorado State University Extension claims wolves from Wyoming have traveled down to Moffett County in 2020 before the first round of wolf reintroduction.
I am worried about them settling here. When they find a spot that's got a lot of game or a food source, they will settle.
CPW's Northwestern Region PIO Rachel Gonzalez tells me it's hard to say what this animal will do next. This wolf is in exploratory mode, not defending a territory. As Colorado's wolf population increases and packs form, their movements are more likely to become predictable. Factors such as food availability also direct where a wolf goes. Gonzalez states wolves prey on both small and large game. Timber Schumann, KREX.
And in other news from Glade Park this week, a 30-year-old man was arrested in connection to a murder of a Glade Park woman over the weekend. Zeth Phillips is facing second-degree murder charges, among others. According to an affidavit, the victim was the suspect's mother, who was stabbed to death. The affidavit also describes Zeth Phillips as a paranoid schizophrenic who had recently been paroled to community corrections. His father telling police that he, his wife, and neighbors received, quote, horrific letters from Zeth while he was incarcerated. Timber Schumann spoke with Glade Park residents who are reacting to a rare occurrence in their small community.
Glade Park, Colorado is home to just under 1,000 people in the plains, canyons, and forests on top of the Colorado National Monument. But this quiet community is now at the forefront of attention after a homicide off A and 3/4 Road.
I've lived up here 14 years. I just love that it's small and tight-knit.
Glade Park neighbor Dixie Barnes grew close with Thomas Phillips and his wife through small community barbecues.
She was an amazing, just sweet person. She always brought the best food to the cookout. We always were excited to see what she was going to bring, and she was always a treat.
Sunday afternoon, however, Thomas arrived home to find his wife deceased, according to Mesa County Sheriff's Office. Their press release also states the suspect was taken into custody by Fruita Police Department, then transported to MCSO.
She's going to be missed. She's going to be missed.
The suspect, Zeth Phillips, the couple's son. His charges include murder in the second degree, not heat of passion, first-degree burglary, and second-degree motor vehicle theft. I just got out of a court appearance with Zeth Phillips, who attended virtually. His father, however, attended in person, where he took the stand to deliver a heartbreaking message to his son of, I forgive you, I love you, and I'm praying for you. At the end of court, a bond was set for $1 million cash only.
I'm not worried about a continued threat or anything like that. This is something that was just as likely to happen in town as it is to happen up here.
We are 5 generations. You wave to each other driving down the road. It's more of a family than really a community up here.
Glade Park rancher Jeremy Carnes says homicides are nothing new within the history of Glade Park.
It used to be the water wars. People were murdered over water, which is a big deal.
There's one thing Jeremy says he knows for sure.
The crime up here is getting quite a bit worse. It makes you concerned for your kids and your family. I can tell you that.
It was just an unfortunate event due to just really unfortunate circumstances.
Timber Schumann, KREX.
Now, Zeth's father did ask for a no-contact order in court, also granted by Judge Rahm. We'll keep you updated as more information comes available. From the state capitol now, lawmakers taking steps to increase affordable housing in the state. The Colorado House of Representatives passing a bill to bring more affordable housing into the state. The bill lets school districts lease unused land for affordable housing and clean energy projects. It brings more flexibility to school district leases and allows empty land to be put to use. The bill passed with a vote of 50-12. And Colorado Hospitals Association is urging caution this legislative session. Because of the current federal and state environment, CHA says hospitals are facing uncertainty and financial instability. Colorado hospitals and health systems are urging state legislators to take a cautious and considered approach to any new healthcare legislation this session. The state faces a budget shortfall that approaches $1 billion, and forthcoming federal policies could dramatically reduce healthcare funding to the state. This comes at a time when 70% of Colorado hospitals operate with small or negative margins, meaning there is limited funding to reinvest in patient care. Hospitals face double-digit increases in costs with shrinking reimbursement, especially by Medicare and Medicaid. Community Hospital CEO Chris Thomas tells us with funding being frozen, they will need to be more efficient in how they operate before they cut costs.
Before we go after cuts and reducing staff and reducing services, we want to make sure we've kicked over every stone. So where can we work together? You know, we're working with Delta Hospital, we're working with Family Health. We're looking at ways that we can, reduce the cost to all of us. How can we collaborate better together, make sure we're not duplicating services? So I think that's one of our biggest strategies.
Now, lawmakers are considering a new piece of federal legislation that aims to help protect communities from fires. Supporters say it not only streamlines the process of allocating firefighting resources, but also helps to mitigate fuels before a fire breaks out. Timber Schumann has the details.
The Grand Mesa is the largest flat-top mountain in the whole world and boasts 300 lakes as well as a prolific ski resort.
Tourism here on the Grand Mesa is very important. That's where a majority of the companies around here bring their profit in.
Spence Lenz is a Mesa resident and Mesa Blue Market employee. He says there's several pros to living on the mountain, though a serious con has almost cost him his livelihood.
Last year, I had a neighbor call me and he goes, "Hey, it looks like your house is on fire." So I took off, I ran down there, and I was lucky enough that it was only 120 acres east of me. And what I'm really scared about this year is it's such a mild winter that we're gonna have a lot of forest fires around here. And a lot of them come from the lightning strikes.
However, a new piece of legislation is aiming to help both mitigate fires before they happen and streamline allocating resources to keep communities like Spence's safe. H.R. 471, also known as the Fix Our Forest Act, passed the House 279 to 141 on January 23rd of 2025.
This is not a silver bullet. There's not a silver bullet to this problem.
Director Mike Morgan says the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control is the main wildfire management agency and certifies all firefighters in the state. He tells me overall he's on board with this act, but there's no guarantee it could solve one of the biggest problems relating to wildfires: time.
I don't think we should kid ourselves that any piece of legislation is going to change the fire threat to any of our communities over the next 5 years.
When it comes to resources for fuels management, the whole country will have to fall on a prioritized line, meaning some will fall towards the bottom.
Some communities could be impacted in a matter of months. Other communities might be a matter of years.
Funding for this bill is still up in the air.
Again, I think it's yet to be determined. There's not a cheap price tag for any of it.
As well as other aspects of the act as it makes its way through the Senate.
If it's a dry year, anything can happen and someone could lose their house very easily.
Timber Schumann, KREX.
And on January 28th, a barn fire in Clifton left a family without 3 of their animal friends. Then the community gave back, helping the family in their time of need. More than $1,400 donated in just over 24 hours after a GoFundMe was shared. Kyle Kawamoto spoke with the family and has more on how the community came together to help them recover.
Nothing is more sad than losing your best friend.
If I wanted to just go and sit out with them and everything, I could, and they would just make me laugh and everything. And
last week, Colby Rogers lost 3 of her best friends in a tragic structure fire after coming home from school earlier that same day.
When we drove by and I saw it, that was like the first time that my heart dropped. And every single time I see it now, my heart just drops even more.
Colby's goats were pregnant with their soon-to-be born babies. And
Colby got these goats 2 or 3 years ago to get her started in the Market Goat Project.
The project involves teaching youth how to raise goats from buying feed to taking care of them.
And every single time that you would look at her, she kind of did that pose. She'd be standing there and then she'd whip her head back and just stare at you. It was always very funny, and she always had a smile on her face.
We're there for her. We're whatever she needs, letting her take a day off of school, just holding her when she needs to cry, just letting her cry, letting her mourn.
Colby's mom, Cassie Rogers, decided to step in and help her daughter. On Thursday, she created a GoFundMe for Colby, and she couldn't believe the response from the community just within 24 hours.
It's amazing to see people who don't even know us helping out.
I'm just very grateful for them and grateful that they want to donate to us.
Cassie tells me with the help from 4-H and the community, everyone is stepping in to help Colby reach her goal.
All day today, I've had phone calls. I've had people offering to give her donate goats so she can female goats so she can start her herd again. And I've had a couple of people offer to donate some weather goats, weather boar goats, so that she can complete her project this year.
I plan on, when I restart, I plan on naming some of my goats after them.
Kyle Kawamoto, KREX News.
Thanks, Kyle. Now, Colby tells us she's looking forward to building new relationships with her new goats. If you would like to donate, you can find the link to the GoFundMe on our website, westernslopenow.com. And around the region, some 10,000 grocery store workers are on strike in Denver and nearby areas, claiming unfair and illegal negotiating practices by King Soopers. Picket lines at 77 stores with striking workers began forming Thursday morning. King Soopers and the Local 7 union have been negotiating a new contract since October. Now, the previous contract expired in January. The union accuses the company of unfair and illegal negotiating practices, but the retailer denies those claims. King Soopers is a chain owned by Kroger with 121 stores in Colorado and Wyoming. Now that does it for us on the KREX News Week in Review. Make sure you tune in every Friday for the latest Week in Review. We'll see you back here next time.